All right, everybody, welcome to Scratch the Vinyl. You're back. You keep following us around. We don't know why, but we're glad that you are here with us. I've got Randy, Mr. Chill Wilson in here. I've got Brooke Johnson. I'm not going to stop calling her DJ BJ. I'm just going to call her Big Red from now on. She's got the red lips, and she's just she's a ball of fire on this show. But we have, guys, a special guest on our hands. We've been getting a lot of great guests, but this guy might be really special, and I'll tell you why. For one, I know that he was on. I was talking to him yesterday, and I was kind of like mentioning to him that you were on like a number one, like a song in the blues charts, and you were the guitar player for Sean Holt and the Teardrops, I believe. And he was just like, yeah, it happened, no big deal. It was, which I was like, wait, that's a huge deal. Like, I can't even get any of my songs to chart on anything, not even on my mom's top 10, let alone the number one in the blues charts. Also, this guy, I believe, is probably one of the best guitar players in town. And I know he's probably going to shake his head and go, no, that's not the case. But we have Levi William, everybody. How you doing, Levi?
I'm doing great. I'm happy to be here. Thank you so much.
Man, lots of stuff's been happening. I see you've been playing out a lot. I see that you've been doing quite a bit of stuff, as you always have. Have you been playing a lot of outside stuff lately, like in this horrible heat?
Yeah, we actually we played a show this last Saturday out at the event center outside on the dirt track, and yeah, it was a little warm.
Man, I saw. Do you know the guys from Pasty Jenny at all? Have you seen those guys?
I did see what happened. Yes.
Yeah, Stan Liberty and Greg Lee both went down after they performed, I guess. And man, Stan had to go to the hospital. I just messaged him yesterday asking if he was all right. I know Stan, and I was kind of worried about that. Well, he looked pretty rough. So it happens, though, doesn't it? I mean, as musicians, we play those summer gigs. We know what we're getting into. We try to hydrate, try not to drink too much vodka, try to maybe mix it up with some actual water, and and see how it goes, right?
Yeah, it's a dangerous situation. It can be, and especially when you have so much emotion in what you're doing too. Like, it's easy to forget to drink water because you're like, man, I feel great up here. I'm having a great time, and then it kind of hits you at the end of the show, and that's when it gets really bad.
How do you keep your guitar in tune? Because I mean, guitars go out of tune pretty often at times, depending on the temperature variations. But I can remember playing some street dances, and I can remember strings just like blowing off of my guitars and having to go run back there and have somebody like quickly restring it and hope for the best. Like, how do you keep it all together?
Well, the joke I always say in blues music, you're bending strings so many times that if it goes out of tune, it probably really doesn't matter that much. But yeah, it's kind of difficult. I feel like you have to tune every single time. I've been pretty lucky that I haven't broken a string in many, many years now. Now, of course, I say that it's going to happen every show now, but it's really tough. Yeah, you got to keep on top of it.
So, Levi, kind of getting to our first question, really what moved you toward the blues?
That's a really good question. When I was growing up, my parents were into like very different kinds of music. My dad was kind of like a heavy metal guy. So there was a lot of Pantera, Metallica, a lot of that going on, which I did enjoy. But he was also a Stevie Ray Vaughan fan. My family lived in Texas for a short time before I was born. I think that was part of it. Plus, Stevie Ray Vaughan's a great guitar player, so everybody enjoys that. My mom was into more of like soulful music. She did enjoy some country, but she was a Buddy Guy fan. So I kind of picked out those two artists of Stevie Ray Vaughan and Buddy Guy. And I think when a guitar player finds Stevie Ray Vaughan, you either go one way, like you follow everything that came after Stevie Ray Vaughan, or you try to find the things that were before. And I was kind of interested in a lot of the artists that he learned from, the Albert Kings, Albert Collins, Freddie King, all of those guys. And it kind of got me into that a little bit more. And I think growing up I was very, very shy And when I got into blues music, I figured out I could let out some emotion and almost like act like I was just playing the music, but really just getting rid of the emotion I needed to.
So how soon did you start picking up a guitar and playing? Like, what's your background?
I got my first guitar on my 10th birthday. And when I turned 11, I started taking lessons. I think my parents got tired of listening to just random string plucks and that, so we got into lessons. And then I was way too early, I will tell you that, but it was a good learning experience.
So so they gave you, you started like a lot of us do. You started just plucking the strings, just kind of like falling in love with the sound of the guitar. You started doing lessons. How important is it to people who are self-taught to still brush up? And because I know you teach at Dietz, how important is it to brush up with somebody and have them show you like the actual ropes of guitar? Like, I mean, like show you scales, show you what you're doing wrong, show you like good posture. How important is that?
I think it's super important. Not only for that, but a great teacher is someone who can also kind of mold the student into even becoming a better musician because they've been through all of those things at the beginning. I think having somebody in front of you is really a changing experience about learning an instrument. I do have a lot of people that'll come into the store and ask me, should I get a book or should I take lessons? And I usually say all the above. I mean, because there's not one way that's the best way for everyone. It's going to be different for everybody. But I do feel like if you have the opportunity to have somebody in front of you and learn from, I mean, that was the biggest thing for me was, I had lessons, but when my parents started taking me to like open stages where I got to interact with musicians around town and learn from them and watch what they were doing, it's a huge change.
It's kind of like about anything in life. I think if they're called throw it out to the sharks and you just start doing it. And I know when I was being taught, and by no means can I play an instrument very well, but the person that taught me always said, like, it doesn't matter how fat your fingers are, if you are missing fingers, if you're, it's about practice and about feeling it and about keep going. Because I hear a lot of people, I can't do it because my fingers are too long or too short, or I don't have a thumb or what, and my friend would get out videos and go, okay, well, this guy doesn't have an arm and he's playing the guitar somehow, and I think It just takes practice. It takes patience and having a good teacher. You're right. It has a lot to do with it, like a ton. And I've heard a lot of good things about you. I mean, you're pretty well known here in Lincoln for sure, for your playing, like all of it. Like, I've never seen somebody rip a guitar like that. Is that the right term? Like shred?
That can work, yeah.
Shred a guitar? Shred? Yeah. I mean, I've only seen maybe one other person just go crazy, and you're pretty amazing. I mean, yeah.
I appreciate that very much. Yeah. It is a lot of practice, and I tell people to this day, like it's how much work you're willing to put in. I still have times where, I have a show coming up, and I just feel like I am completely not where I should be. And it really takes sitting down on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and just going through everything and getting the muscle memory back to where it needs to be. I've figured that out in my age with my voice as well. As a youngin', I used to scream and shout and yell all night long, and I'd wake up the next day and I'd wonder why I didn't have a voice. And it's really about, practicing that and getting that even better.
Well, absolutely. And I think people don't realize that, like my kids, I always tell them, like in sports, I'm like, you don't have to hurt yourself like it's going to catch up to you, and keeping that like balance, I guess, is good advice, so you're not just, stretching your throat, you're, just getting everything done out of the way by your 30. And then when you're 35, like super old, you can't do it anymore.
Levi, do you think there's any hope for Brooke? I mean, Brooke says that she's got like a built-in 5-second delay where she just she's behind at the very least 5 seconds on everything that she does musically. Does she have any hope? Can you help her?
Oh, I think you could definitely get into some soul and R&B with a 5-second delay.
Okay, you've heard it here. Hello, I have a chance. I have a chance. I'm not kidding you. And like when I go with Randy at karaoke, or when I was playing, even the tambourine, I'm like just a second off. And all you musicians are like, Brooke. I'm like, it sounds amazing to me. And then I'm like, oh well, I mean, it's off a little bit. I go just with my own way.
What's funny is Brooke actually spent a little time teaching me how to play the piano.
Oh.
And I thought there was no hope. I had tried to learn for many years from my grandma, who was really good. And she'd say, just play it by ear. And I'd be like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And one day Brooke got me to figure it out. And I always wondered, with Brooke's delay, did I actually learn it correctly, or was I still behind? But we did have 2 dead keys on the piano, so it kind of, I wasn't ever sure.
Yeah, we had to skip over those.
Well, Cain knows this. I mean, as a guitar player, there's a lot of guitar players that get delay pedals to get that effect. So, you really are just ahead of your time, really.
You are. People pay good money for that, Brooke. Like, I mean, honestly, you might be that hidden ace in the deck that people are looking for. They just need someone with that just regular delay, and you're good to go.
My mind is blown right now. This is insane. You guys, I'm coming out with a record, I think. All right. You want to be my producer?
There's going to be so many Sam Cooke covers coming from Brooke in like the next week. It's going to be nuts.
You'll see me on YouTube.
Well, obviously, Levi, we appreciate you coming on the show today, because we have been working really hard to talk to different artists from all genres and really promote local talent, and not just Lincoln, but the state. And we do bring in some national stuff, but our listeners really love connecting with a lot of our great local artists. So first off, I just want to say I appreciate you coming on and taking some time to talk with us today. And
Sure.
and maybe if you just could let everybody know what you got going on right now, and where they can check you out.
Sure. Yeah. So as of last December, so December last year, I joined a group called Church of Blues, which consists of Joe Gorley on drums, who's been around for a long time, has played with a lot of blues bands through the Zoo Bar and touring. On bass guitar, we've got Dave Boy, who plays in a live karaoke band around town. He's been playing for years and years, good friends. And then on keys and vocals, we have Josh Hoyer, who's a really, really big name in this town and in the Midwest, was on The Voice for a short time, and just a great guy. I mean, I've known Josh since I was 14 years old, and growing up in the open stage time. So he's a great guy. We usually play about once or twice a month or so. Occasionally, I will still pick up a Levi William band 3-piece show. Pretty rare. I enjoy the role that I have in this band now, but it does happen time to time. And occasionally, I will have some solo things that come up. So if you're looking for you enjoy taking a nap in a public place, you can come to one of my solo shows, because that works out really well.
Do you have everything posted on media or whatever? Do you
Yes, I try my best. Levi William Music, and then also I have my own pages under Levi William. I think Church of Blues, we just started a Facebook page within the last week or so there'll be a lot posted on there as well.
And what planet are you on, Brooke? She asked she asked about are you on some sort of are you on the media?
I literally could not think of the word social media or platforms. I'm like, the thing with the people are on and they do stuff on keys.
Brooke, we are the media.
That's right.
I'm a part-time weatherman as well, so I'm also in that media as well. I do what I can.
Well, speaking of that, I mean, how do you think the weather's going to go? I mean, we got a cold front moving in as of tomorrow, right? So we should probably get some pretty nasty storms, huh?
I'm not on the clock for being a weatherman, but thank you.
Wait, but we need like an official weather correspondent on the show, Levi. Like we need you, man.
I believe a cold front will be moving through in the next day or two. Look for some spotty showers in the next 24 to 48 hours.
Yes.
I love that. You are a weatherman. We needed a weatherman, you guys. Oh my God. You got one more thing to put in your books.
So Levi, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that number one song that you guys had. It is a big deal. It's a massive deal. It's a great deal. It's a big deal for Lincolnites too, because it's amazing to know that we have such massive talent. And it's important that people need to know that this music scene that we have here is not dead. We have a lot of talent in this city, and anyone who thinks otherwise isn't paying attention. But what was that? That was like that was around what 2013 that you were on that.
Yeah, so in 2013, I auditioned to be a part of Sean Holt and the Teardrops. Sean Holt, of course, son of Magic Slim, a great. And Sean and I had been friends for quite a while. And we got the chance to record an album. We had a record deal, so we did this album. We did win Best New Artist at the Blues Music Awards in 2013, I think it was. It seems like a lifetime ago. It really does. But it was a great experience. That year was crazy. I had started a new job with Dietz Music. I joined this band. I was on the road for the first time. There was a lot going on as a 24-year-old young man. It was quite a change, but yeah, it was great. I thinking back on all of them, there's a lot of funny stories that I'll probably take to the grave with me in that of things that happened down the road. But
I was just going to ask you, I want to hear something really.
I was waiting for you, Brooke. I listen to this show all the time, and I know you always have that question.
I love to hear them.
Yeah, I'm always the guy who's afraid to get in trouble. I also don't drink, so there's never anything that crazy that happens around me. I'm always the one like in the hotel room or out on a walk, like, oh, look at the birds outside. And, like I'm that guy walking around. So I'm never really involved in the part. Like I think about crazy stories, and I think about we were in Poland playing a blues festival. And the bass player and we used to go out on walks all the time. Well, he found that there was a bus that would take us to Krakow, which is a lot of history there. And I still remember sitting outside of a castle eating pierogies, just looking out into the openness of this amazing sight and thinking, wow, this is a long way from Northeast High School. Like it was nuts.
I think that's a really... that even inspirational stuff. I think that's cool that you were somewhere that you actually, it was probably life-changing. And I think even when you're on stage, there's sometimes you have a moment, or like we were talking about when it's hot out, you just go for it. You're not even thinking about what's going on. But when you get to hone in and just really appreciate where you are, because I was going to ask you, when you were younger, you said, oh, like it was so long ago. Like, is there anything you would tell yourself now, back then? But it sounds like you're pretty grounded and, I don't know. I mean, is there any advice you'd give yourself?
I thought about that the other day. And I think I would have told myself to slow down and enjoy it a little bit. I still have boxes full of stuff from all the festivals that we played and the traveling and, looking through Passport and seeing all the different stamps and that. I think at the time I looked at it as I was in the moment, and I was just going to go through this as much as we could and play show after show. And I think the traveling really took a toll on me, and that's why I had a hard time with understanding how amazing it really was. And still, when I look back, it's like, oh yeah, when I traveled in that. But I do kind of sometimes think if I would have just taken a breath every once in a while and thought about what I was doing, I think it would have been even a bigger change for me. But at the same point, and now I'm able to keep myself pretty grounded about everything.
Now seems like as good a time as any to take a brief intermission here. I want you to continue to listen to the ads we have, the local sponsors. I want you guys to get connected to these guys. And right now, let's run the Elegant Sasquatch commercial, the brand new one, where people are loving it. We're going to keep on pumping them out, and then we will get back to some of our other sponsors. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, get ready to rumble with the Ultimate Beard Care Showdown. Introducing our headliner, the one, the only, Squatch.
Oh, yeah, Mean Jim. Squatch in the house, and I'm here to tell you about beard products that'll make your whiskers the talk of the town. If your beard's ready to take on the world, you need the power of our beard balms, butters, and oils, brother.
That's right, Squatch. Let's kick things off with the Beard Balm of Legends.
This beard balm is like a body slam for your beard. It tackles those wild hairs and smooths them out, making your beard look like $1,000,000. No sweat, brother.
What's the scoop with the beard butter?
Oh, brother, it's a game changer. This butter makes your beard softer than a cloud and as easy to manage as a well-oiled wrestling machine. Plus, it's got a scent that's as sweet as victory. Oh, yeah.
And let's not forget the beard oil.
The beard oil is the final knockout punch. It hydrates, shines, and smells like a championship belt made of cedar and pine. Your beard will be the 1, 2, 3 of any match.
Where can our fans score these unbeatable products?
You read my mind, brother. Head on over to elegantsasquatchco.etsy.com and grab your beard gear. And listen up. Use the code SUPERSHOW and get a jaw-dropping 20% off. That's right, 20% off. Your beard's about to go from 0 to hero, brother.
That's elegantsasquatchco.etsy.com and use your code SUPERSHOW for 20%. Don't wait, make your beard the ultimate champ today. All right, that was the Elegant Sasquatch Beard Company. They are an amazing company out of New Jersey. And if you want to get those beards smelling great, if you want women to actually want to kiss you and want to be around you, then please get a hold of them. You'll find them on Etsy. Tell them about us. Tell them what you think about the ads. Say anything you can mentioning Scratch the Vinyl, and just follow the directions of the ad for a little bit off on your order. So we want to go into more of our local sponsors now. We have Roots Music Shop. Roots is an unbelievable music store. There's so many selections throughout town, as Levi has mentioned, but and they're all great. They really are. I personally have always kind of dialed into Roots Music Shop with Ryan. He's always hooked me up and helped me out with everything I needed for all my needs musically, especially last minute stuff right before a gig. I need restrung. I need a microphone, all this stuff. Help me out. Ryan has always done so. So go to Roots Music Shop, get those instruments, you'll buy, sell, trade. You can buy records there. And it's an amazing place. So, and really go to all your different shops out there. I think it's good for everybody to experience the vibe of local music shops in general. So get out there, play those instruments, buy that guitar, go to Roots Music Shop. We also have Sly Ink Tattoo. So I know you're tired of you're probably tired of the same old stuff, tired of the old dolphin, type deal. You're tired of the tribal tattoos that I've got. You're tired of all this other stuff. So you need to get yourself into Sly Ink Tattoo and get those dreams reality. Whatever you think is, oh, this is too strange. Nobody will draw this up. Nobody will do this. You're wrong. Bryce will do it. Bryce is an amazing artist. Go to Sly Ink Tattoo here in Lincoln. Last but not least, we have Stan Liberty. We have Liberty Contracting. Stan Liberty is a world-class guitar player. He just meshes with this group. We love him. We love the band he plays in. You know, Pasty Jenny. We love all the other stuff he's done with One Track Mind. Stan is amazing, and he's also amazing at doing concrete. So if you need concrete work done, if you need patio, anything really, sidewalk, you need a new driveway, get a hold of Stan at Liberty Contracting, and he will make your concrete needs a reality. He'll make your dreams will come to reality, and maybe he'll even bring a little amp and guitar with you and with him, and he'll play you a sweet little solo while he's doing it. Who knows? I can't say for sure, but check out Stan and the boys. Get a hold of them for all your concrete needs. Those are our sponsors for now. We've got more sponsors coming in the near future. I hope you guys continue to listen through these and not just fast forward, because then if you did, shame on you. Now you're with us till the end, we hope. So stay tuned for more of Scratch the Vinyl, and please, hopefully you enjoy the show. What's the difference between playing in America and playing in Europe? Because I pay attention to a lot of different touring bands, and it seems like the fans dig the music more over there than they do here. Like they're like excited to have American bands over there just kicking ass, you know, playing guitar, doing their thing. But what's the big difference between playing in the States and playing, you know, over there?
You know, it was crazy. The first time that we went to Europe, we went to Denmark, which is still one of my favorite countries. But I remember we were on stage playing, and everybody just stayed seated, and it was quiet. It was like you could hear a pin drop, and I remember thinking, oh, they don't like us. Like this is not good. But then you would end the song, and everybody would clap, and it was. They really enjoy the Western style music, and not country Western, but like the Western part of the world. And blues music is definitely ingrained in our country's past. So when they hear that, they enjoy it. And they don't try to talk during the performance. They are very quiet. That was a big difference. The attention span is a little bit different. You know, they're very, they notice when you go into a lead guitar solo, they can sense that emotion. And not that people don't in the US, but it's a very different feeling. And it was quite a change, but I definitely enjoyed it. I still enjoy playing here. You know, in my solo shows, it's a little bit more of a background music thing in that, which is just for the love of playing. But yeah, it was quite different when we would travel around.
And I would have given anything to have that type of. You really have to command people's attention here, especially on the local level. You know, I mean, I can remember there was a time when I was playing a show, and I know that you were there, and I was so excited, but I was really scared because I was like, man, I'm gonna blip every single song on guitar. Like, I don't know why, because you were like so much younger than me, but I had known that you were like, you had this massive thing happen where you were in this band. And so I was like super excited that you were there. You probably don't even remember it, but you know, I had like a guitar player who looked like a farmer, you know, and I had 40 gin and tonics before I got on stage. So I don't even know how the show went. It's like, you're like a true professional. And then there's guys like me that just love music and just get up there and try to have a good time and make people enjoy me for at least an hour or so.
I think I remember that show. You were like moon dancing in front of the stage for a little while. You did like a cartwheel, if I remember correctly.
I think it was like a trip. What is it? A triple Lundy or something? It's like a double backflip and all.
Yeah, it's like if you would have been on ice skates, it would have been absolutely perfect.
That's what it was. It was low on cash on ice. You know, yeah, we actually had a little ice rink instead of a dance floor.
Can we find this on video somewhere, or is this before the computer things came out, the interwebs? I need to find this so bad. Oh,
I'm sure it's on the medias, Brooke.
I'm sure he'll reenact it for you anytime.
That's actually a great idea. Hey, Levi, when's your next show again? Do you need like a halftime show? I could play the tambourine and he could do cartwheels.
I could just be like the hype man. I don't necessarily have to be like the talent or anything, but I can easily get up there and, you know, let's go, everybody. I'm that guy.
Now you just need a hula hoop.
Oh, my. Yes. One that glows in the dark as well.
Absolutely. As long as my clothes stay on, everybody's fine. Once my clothes start, then they're like, okay, now it's enough. We're
Hold
good.
up. Never mind. We don't want you anymore.
That's the problem with if I'm the hype guy.
Oh, I've seen it.
Yeah, it's been somebody's ringtone before too. It's creepy.
How about that? You're going to say wet dream. Same thing.
We just got a great insight to what it's like to play in Europe, and then we followed up with that.
Hey, you know what? It's natural, okay? And it's sometimes that's really, I mean, you get motivated. It's kind of like you feed off of your, okay, that was what I was going to ask you. So if they're quiet and they're not really doing anything and you're not used to that, don't you, I mean, I've always heard like all you musicians like feed off of the crowd. Like if they're screaming like, oh, and you feel like, let's keep going, or they're booing you, or they're not doing anything, or they're not paying attention. Like, it's kind of like going to different bars. I get like a country bar, you'll go to a prissy bar, you'll go to a, so it's just kind of the crowd, I guess. But I mean, don't you usually feed off of them?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely something that we do. That's very true. I almost kind of thought it was very similar at first to being like in a studio. I haven't recorded very many albums in my time. People ask me why, and a lot of it is because I don't like being in a studio because I'm by myself. I kind of lose some confidence that I have in myself. I do get a lot of emotion performing in front of a crowd. But I think when we were there, you really didn't have much of a choice because that's what it was. But it really tests how professional you can be, and that you can turn it on like that, and do what you need to do to put on a good show. Fortunately, Sean and I worked really well together to be able to pass back and forth. He would let me do leads, he would let me sing, and then he would do some, and it would go back and forth. And we would almost have that emotion working off of each other, so it really helped.
I talk about that all the time with anything you do, artists, musicians. If you have a good group of people and that energy that you have, I think your performance is even 100 times better. It's just you guys feeding off of each other. And with that audience so being quiet, I think that was maybe like a learning thing of like, oh my God, like they're actually taking this in. I have to like hone in with my partner and do this. So it was like a learning thing, maybe. I don't know, but
yeah, for sure.
I think it would be almost like an honor to do something like that. But man, it would have been nice to get a little notice though, right?
Yeah, definitely.
I really love that insight, honestly. And I think that's what our fans really want to hear about, especially when you talk about maybe you didn't have the confidence, but man, everything I've ever seen you do, I would never guess that. So I think our listeners really love kind of that background of how you got to where you were or where you are now, and that the elevation of being that 13-year-old kid picking up a guitar and traveling the world and just kind of finding your own.
Yeah. I wouldn't have done anything that I have done in my life if it wasn't for my family. My parents were always huge supporters. They would take me to these open stages, and I mean, Cain knows this. These are not on Friday, Saturday nights. Those are, at that time it was Sundays, it was Mondays, it was Tuesdays, weeknights. Especially during the summer, I get to sleep in and I get to hang out at home the next day. My parents would get up and go to work the next day, but they were always by my side out there until 11, 12 o'clock at night, and never upset about it. So I think that, that always pushed me to want to be better. And then getting to meet so many, great, wonderful musicians in Lincoln that were very supportive. They wanted to see the next generation. And I think that's really what it's all about, is the next generation of music makers. Tagline for Dietz Music. So for me, like I said, if it wasn't for my parents, I wouldn't have done anything. They would push me, but I needed that. Any 14, 15, even 16-year-old kid, you may not see the ability that you have in something like that. It's different than sports, like, because in music, you may not have people who show up to your show, and you just play through it and you try to learn from that. I also say that YouTube was a huge thing for me. I feel like I'm older, but I'm also know that I'm not that old, that I had YouTube when I was growing up, that I could watch videos of Albert King, Stevie Ray Vaughan, and try to pinpoint what they were doing, see how they commanded a stage, and try to mimic some of that, borrow some of those things. There's a lot that goes into it. I also didn't really enjoy high school that much, so I didn't have to worry about going to the football games on Friday nights or basketball games. I really just wanted to be at home playing guitar. It was my way of releasing the emotions that I needed to. So I just putting all the effort that I possibly could into it.
I am a parent as well, and you just giving that acclamation and that shout out to your parents, that just melts my heart. I love that so much. And I mean, I don't know if they would mind with having their names out there, but man, I want to shout out to Levi's parents. I mean, if it wasn't for them, I mean, come on now, we wouldn't have this awesome talent here. So thank you, Levi's parents.
I think they wouldn't. I mean, a lot of people do know my parents around town. They've always been supportive of local businesses. They actually moved to Florida in 2021. But they still support the local businesses down there. We've seen them. We've been down there a couple times now. But as my mom is listening to this right now, she's bawling, and my dad's looking at her going, "I'm not crying." Like, it's that's going on right now. I know it is.
Hey, Levi's mom, I'm right there with you. I'm getting choked up right now. I'm not kidding. I think it's so wonderful when a child will just, you're giving your parents so much love. And I love that. And I love it about you. And I think people, when they see you, they're going to notice that. I mean, you just have this nice, calm demeanor. And I do say that your parents did a great job. And I think you did a good job with using YouTube correctly.
Yeah, I do owe a lot to them, and my brother has always been a huge supporter. He's been there every step of the way. We certainly didn't always see eye to eye when I was in high school. I think he always thought that I could have done a little bit more, and I probably could have, but he's always been right by my side and continues to come out to shows all the time. So it really is it's a family matter for sure.
Well, Levi, the way you were describing, being that kid in high school and playing your guitar is really a take of what this show is all about. And what I mean by that is we came together because of our love of music and what it means to us and how we connect to it. And we have found our way through older, the albums that we play. I mean, it's the whole concept of scratch the vinyl. So we always kind of get into this area of, did you grow up with a record collection? Do you, what does that look like for you?
Sure. But yeah, my dad always had a record collection when I was growing up. I wouldn't say that we listened to a lot of them when I was growing up. I definitely did get into it as I got older. And I figured out that I could listen to entire albums. And also getting past the laziness of my generation to get up and flip the album over. Once you get past that, then, I was able to really enjoy that. But my dad always had all these bootleg live out. I remember he had a bootleg Danzig live album that he just was so huge about all the time. That was the first one he would pick out. But it was always me going for the Stevie Ray Vaughan stuff. That's what I wanted to listen to.
Man, your dad sounds like a guy that I would absolutely party with,
I could see it.
Danzig bootlegs, he listens to Pantera, he listens to all this stuff. I mean, this is like my guy. Like he and I could be in the garage together and flip those vinyls back and forth for hours, man.
Well, and hold on, the band mom, or what do they call it? The band mother. Your mom and I, we can hang out too, bring lasagna at night, breakfast in the morning. I mean, come on now. I love this family.
You're just talking about my childhood now. That's really what it is. It's my mom making meals for the band and everybody hanging out in the back, and my dad putting on music. And it would start with like blues music because that's what the band, we played blues. And then like a couple of drinks would get down, and next thing you know, Pantera Walk comes on, and it's like a whole different scenario. And don't get me wrong, I like rock music too. Like one of my all-time favorite albums is Queensryche, Operation Mindcrime. Like when I was on the road, I would listen to that thing all the way through multiple times sitting in the car, and everybody would just look at me like, what are you listening to? Like, how can you listen to this? And some of that did rub off on me as well.
Well, we know that you're a great blues player, but do you ever just sit down and, drop your tuning down to like drop C and just hammer it on guitar? Like, do you like down tuning and that sort of thing, or is it not really your thing?
I don't understand it very well. I've tried like a drop D before if I'm sitting at home alone and, nobody's within 100 feet of the house. I might try it just to see what it sounds like. But usually if I step outside of what I normally do, I'll do some country music, try to do that. I do understand what I'm pretty good at. Like, I feel like I'm decent at blues music. So I try to stick to that, but I do really enjoy like, Sturgill Simpson, Jason Isbell. I'm big fans of them. So I'll try to play along with that. If I'm home by myself, I might pull it out at like a solo show and wait for people to not pay attention. And then I know that it went really well. So yeah.
That's part of the joy of music, especially for me. I'm a big buy any vinyl I can get a hold of guy and then try to play along to it. It doesn't matter. So my dogs are usually my audience, and they just sit there bored. Or if they could put their little, paws over their ears, I'm sure they would. But I mean, that's how I enjoy music. Like I like buying a vinyl, like the one behind me. I was listening to it's the Deftones self-titled album, and I'm a huge Deftones fan, and I'll try to drop tune and play with them, and I'm sure it's terrible, but it's kind of the fun of being a guitar player in music. You're just trying to match what they're doing and figure it out without someone showing you what's happening like that. And I don't know, different guitar players learn different ways. I had to learn by memorization, by just playing trial and error and all that. So I can be sloppy at times, but I can come up with some things too. But I always wish that I had like a really good teacher to kind of push me in the direction. But now I feel like I'm kind of like an old dog with old tricks that I can still learn. But when I go back to like listen to these, my teachers are all of the vinyl that I have. And I don't know, do you experience music that way? You kind of play along to different things all the time?
I try to, yeah. I think in the last couple of years, I've figured out that if I actually do spend a little bit of time with that stuff, I can pick up some of it and, kind of. I've never been one who tries to play exactly like the record. My mindset is like they already did it and they did it great. So I try to put my own feel to it. So that's also me just covering for I can't play like that person. So I'll just, do what I can and make it my own kind of thing. But I haven't done it in a while sitting down with a vinyl record. I did it for a long time, like every single day was that. So I think I got to a point where I had to move away from it, but I do need to get back into it.
Levi, I have a question as well about like your inspirations and stuff. If you could play with anybody in this entire planet, here still on this planet or not, anybody, who would you want to just jam with?
Oh, wow. That's a tough question.
Saying who's your favorite parent? No.
I've actually tried to jam with my parents before, and I'll say that they're not on that list. But um, I think almost any guitar player would say they'd love to jam with Stevie Ray Vaughan, like to have that opportunity. But at a same point, I feel like I would maybe never pick up the guitar again if I tried to do that. I mean, it would be something absolutely moving to see that. There is a UK guitar player by the name of Matt Schofield. He was voted as the best blues guitar player in the UK for a long time. I've got to see him perform live once, and I think he would probably be on that list of someone that would be pretty amazing to be on stage and kind of learn while you're watching, and kind of see like how my playing would kind of mix with his and see what would happen.
You know, Levi, I think there's a few people around here that would probably say the same about you, that would want to play with you. Because we've seen you, and you are very humble, but you are probably one of the most talented. And your guitar playing is just phenomenal. And you know how many people you've probably inspired just by who you are and how you play, and you can feel it when you're playing. And I really hope people get out to see you. I mean, I like more people. I mean, there's tons of people that come, but fill these places up, man. Because I highly recommend seeing you, Levi. And you're, just talented as hell. I can't wait to go see you. And you go to the Zoo Bar a lot, right? Is that what you go to the Zoo?
Yeah, we usually play the Zoo Bar about once a month. But cool. I really appreciate that. You know, I will say I feel like an older statesman anymore, because I am at that point where I hope that it does inspire people to continue playing. Don't strive to be the amazing world-renowned musician. Just get some enjoyment out of it, and be able to find the joy and the passion. For me, somebody who has dealt with depression through their life, it's such a great opportunity to release some of that. And if it does help somebody and it makes them want to do the same thing, that's what it's all about in the end.
Absolutely. Man, we have enjoyed you on the show so much. And I know you're at Dietz. I'll probably go in and maybe just look around and maybe get a tambourine or a new guitar. I don't know. Maybe you can teach me some stuff. And sure. Also we'll probably see, I probably will. I'm not kidding. Not joking. And I'll probably show up with Randy and Cain too. And they'll bring some instruments so we can just have a little jam session. I don't know. I'm just kind of brainstorming right now, but I think it's a great idea. When do you work again?
Don't tell her which beach you work at. Don't do it, Levi.
I will drive a run until I find him.
I think it'd be a great idea for you to visit all 4 locations that we have in Lincoln, Omaha, and Bellevue. You just make your way around and check everything out.
I've been to a few. Yeah, I've almost bought stuff that I had no clue how to play, but it was pretty.
Oh. Man, Levi, we really do appreciate you taking the time today. I'm very impressed. I've always been impressed watching you play, and just to get you on the show today and give us those insights has been very refreshing, honestly. So thanks again, man, for coming on today.
This is awesome. I really appreciate it. I'm honored to be a part of it. Like I said, I've been listening to every episode, and I do got to give a shout out to my uncle EJ, who was on here. He made me tear up as I was listening in the grocery store parking lot. So thank you for that, EJ. But he's a wonderful guy, and what you guys are doing is pretty awesome. So I'll be listening.
Man, you have no idea. That interview with EJ brought back so many great memories. Like I've been involved in so many things over the years, and to look back how long ago that was that we were doing some of that crazy stuff with music in town, and he just tapped into an emotion for me that I hadn't just remembered in a long time. And man, we could have talked for like hours on that show. Oh, yeah. So I don't know. It was just a great sense of pride of what we're doing, and bringing back some of the people that had such a great influence on music here in town. And I think that's why people are enjoying the show.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely is.
I can't believe nobody like cornered the market on this thing. Like it, it wasn't like we were reinventing the wheel. We just thought to ourselves, like, hey, we need a podcast here in town that highlights local talent and talks to people from all over. And I think we're getting it accomplished. I mean, if we have you listening and listening to it, and everyone we talk to, they're listening. We're getting a lot of people behind us. It's just such a great thing for us to be able to talk to talent like you. My only bone to pick with you, though, before we go, Levi, is that when I watch you play guitar, it frustrates me as much as watching a kid with like no arms play with their feet and they can play a better guitar solo than me. So it makes me want to quit and just throw all of my instruments away when I watch you play.
I'll kind of take that as a compliment, but I'm going to push back right at you and say, you are a phenomenal musician because I've heard you play. I've heard you sing. You could fire up that Spider amp that you got behind you right there, and you could put on a great show right now.
I'd like to give that little amp away. The funny thing about this amp, thank you so much for the compliments. This amp is something I've had this Line 6 Spider amp at least 10 different times. And every time I get it like at a garage sale or something for like $15. And I tell myself, oh, I remember why I like this. Then I play it and it sounds so awful. And I'm just, so if anybody needs a Line 6 amp, I'm willing to part with this thing that Levi's mentioning. So, but man, you pay me too much compliment. I'm like, I just love music so much. I'm obsessed with it. It's got me through, you mentioned depression. Music has got me through all of my depression. Like I never needed a therapist, or maybe I did, but music has been my therapy. Like I just strumming my guitar, picking up my guitar right now, any 6 string, and just plucking those strings is just like soothing to me, man. And everything that you've done that I've seen thus far has been absolutely phenomenal. So thank you so much for being on the show, man. We really do appreciate you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. I really, really do.
Well, how about before we get out of here, do you have anything coming up that we can let our audience know about?
Yeah, so I believe the next show for Church of Blues is on September 20th at the Zoo Bar. It's a Friday. I think they actually just moved the Nebraska game to the Friday night, so we'll be moving to a 4 to 6 slot. Will be the pregame show for that Husker game that night.
Well, there you go, Husker fans. Come down to downtown Lincoln for the Husker game and check out Levi William.
And I will find him at whatever deets he's at. And then we can go get instruments.
Yes.
And play together. Yes.
He just set little booby traps like on Home Alone, like a swinging paint can, and like you really don't want Brooke coming after you, Levi. I'm telling you, man. She's a wild lady.
No, if you need somebody to help move your equipment in and out for the shows, she's your girl.
That is not. Yeah, I can help you do that too. And also, he says I have a chance with the delay, so I'm going to take it from Levi. Thank you.
Yes, and you can carry all the equipment you want. My wife will enjoy that. She would really appreciate that.
She can help carry stuff out. I'll make the bread. She can make the lasagna, and then the kids can all grab everything else. I mean, it sounds like a fun family time.
Beautiful.
Well, cheers to all the real ones out there, the women that are willing to carry equipment and love their musicians like they do. Thank you so much for being on the show, Levi. We hope to have you again some other time. Come on anytime if you have something to promote. Just get a hold of me. And by God, kids, you guys listening out there, stay tuned and tune in next week as we scratch the wheel.